before coming here, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna be, studying here for like a few years. Like my parents left me here, so I thought it was like a temporary thing. I'm just gonna, study and go back. I kind of lived in a bubble when I was in Vietnam. So I was born and raised in Vietnam for 13 years. I attended a public middle school and elementary school. So my school was essentially just 10 minutes of walking distance from my house. So every day I would walk to school with my friends because a lot of my friends were my neighbors as well. So yeah, definitely a very close-knit community, a very large extended family with 10 aunts and uncles on each side of the family, and then I have a lot of cousins. It was kind of like the summer to 8th grade, my parents were debating, I was debating a lot. So we were just kind of thinking if I were to go to the States, I would be able to start my high school. It was just kind of like a day during the summer when my dad just said, okay, I enrolled you in one of the school, which is like a prep school, a boarding school in Florida. My whole high school experience was very totally different from what I imagined in terms of friends and culture in general. Movies were talking about, football games and like cheerleading, HOCO, prom, so those kind of things were not a common concepts in Vietnam. So I think it was really cool to kind of like to get to experience it, and also cheer at my high school team. So I was lucky enough to kind of like have to experience these American high school typical roles that people would expect. Since I was in a boarding school, it was definitely really different because if everybody was going home, my home would be the dorms. We just kind of like share a common living, area, which makes it become like closer, and they were definitely my second families. Language barriers, I was not very sufficient at English, so it was really hard for me to kind of communicate with my peers and my teachers. Going to lunch with my friends and just keep trying to listen to as much as possible of their like languages and English and style of talking to kind of get used to it. I kind of like did not know where I want to live, what I want to do after college. I definitely thought about moving back to Vietnam just because I was debating whether staying the next 3 years would be worth it. But after touring this school, George Washington University, I once again fell in love with the college life. Definitely very hard because on one part you're trying to adapt to the new environment, trying to be like one of your friends, trying to be just living life as normal as other peers who grew up here, but it's definitely very different from. I try to go home at least once every year, but my perspectives change drastically after 5 years being here. So whenever I just come back to Vietnam, I love the scenes. I love how more rural it is, more down to earth, not too modern, just more natural. But it's also very sad because we are still a developing country, so there are a lot of poverty here and there, and the wealth disparity was within our population is pretty big too. So I feel like that's one of the factors that I myself would love to kind of like improve within my country when I'm older. But now that I think about it, definitely want to pursue a career here, obtaining a career in investment banking or asset management in Wall Street, and I see myself pursuing like a financial oriented career. And even if it takes me back to Vietnam, which I really want to live in Vietnam long term, or maybe bounce between like America and Vietnam. After 5-6 years of living in America, this place has definitely become my second home.